This JMC BBR 190cc Husky pit bike has well over 300 plus hours of fabrication into it. It was one of those projects mini bike star Carson Brown has been waiting to do for a while, but hasn't had the chance to. BBR has always focused on following the mini moto rules so Carson can win the mini moto championships on their BBR V3 race bikes like he did in 2013. Since most of the popular mini bike races have dried up, there was no reason why BBR had to abide by the rulebook. Since Carson didn't have any restrictions with the build, he knew he wanted to lengthen the wheelbase and add a radiator to make a more stable and faster bike. BBR started by lengthening the frame by 1 inch and the swing arm by 2 inches over the original BBR V3 race bikes. Usually, Carson preferred chromoly steel frames on the Supercross and national bikes because they are more forgiving and a lot less picky from track to track. But with pit bikes, you need them to be as stiff as you can get since they can't use a frame cradle. Thus, the hand-built aluminum frame. They also lowered the titanium MotoStuff foot pegs 1 inch to open up the cockpit so that the bike would ride much more like a big bike. As for the power plant, they went with the Japanese-built Daytona 190cc engine that was ported and tuned in-house by BBR. The 4-stroke engine was mated with a 30mm D-slide Kian carburetor. The Daytona 190cc engine is popular in the mini bike world. It is available through a lot of sources like Amazon, Alibaba, and many other small pit bike websites that will ship straight to your door. This engine in stock trim produces around 20 horsepower, with a power curve reminiscent of a 250 4-stroke engine. This is where the bigger frame comes in handy. There are builders that get over 30 horsepower out of this engine. However, it is very unreliable. Carson wanted a bike that he can be consistent on and would last the test of time. As for the suspension, Carson used CRF 154 tubes that were shortened and then slid into wide CNC machined BBR triple clamps to keep them from flexing. They used an Elka shock that BBR tailored to match the valving on the forks. Carson also ran CRF 150 axles to stiffen everything up even more. BBR got creative with the brakes. Honda CRF 150 Nissan brakes, rotors, and calipers were used, but ran Brembo master cylinders to get the supreme pucker power Carson was used to. Normally, Carson likes cable clutches when it comes to pit bikes, but he couldn't pass up the opportunity to go with a trick Brembo hydraulic clutch and custom slave cylinder. This build is a blend of parts from a few different bikes that use a Daytona engine, with the majority of parts built from the ground up at the BBR shop. Since Carson races for the GMC Husky team in the AMA Supercross and National Series, he wanted to make the bike look like a Husky. This was the hardest part of the build for them. They started with 2020 Husky TC65 plastics and seat, but had to fabricate the frame's mounting points, brackets, and layout to accept those parts. People underestimate how hard it is to do this, but BBR loves the challenge to make their bikes one of a kind. This bike was insane fast for a pit bike. Even Carson said this was one of the fastest and best handling pit bikes he had ever ridden. All because they chose to go beyond the limits of the minimum rules they are used to abide by. For the whole story of the JMC BBR Husqvarna 190cc pit bike, check out our website, motocrossactionmag.com. And you go in there, you see tons of pit bike stuff, 2-stroke stuff, 4-stroke stuff, anything that's related to dirt bikes is there for you to check out. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out the video thumbnails below for more MXA bike tests.